This is the first webinar from PikcioChain project from Matchbox. So so we have with you today basically the three co-founders of Matchbox and the one carrying this project today. So what happened the last few weeks? The last few weeks you all have seen, probably the last month actually, the rise of the Bitcoin, which is probably making quite a few of you happy, or a few of us actually happy. But on the other hand, that kind of disturb a little bit our ICO project. The first reason is that, of course, like you can all understand, no one wants to sell Bitcoin to buy something else. So for the moment, that slowed down of course, the purchase or the sale on our side of the token, and that's happening to all the ICOs around as well. So that's not uncommon or unseen, but it was never seen before. So that's one of the consequences. The second consequence is that, and that's more important for us, is because we were paying with the Bitcoin in terms of the PKC and the Bitcoin ratio 1 to 6,000, we end up to be a way too expensive in terms of or PKC or coin. So we decide to unping the PKC from Bitcoin, not accept Bitcoin anymore, and just move towards just Ether, and which is a little bit more stable and historically in the last month. So now you can purchase with one Ether, you're going to purchase 327 PKC, and that's what we'll keep running for the rest of the ICO. Talking about the rest of the ICO, we also, and again, one of the consequences of the situation with the Bitcoin and the cryptos in general is that we decide to extend the ICO and the pre-sales period of the ICO, so more of you can when the Bitcoin trend probably slows down, you'll be able to come back on other cryptos like us. And so we decide to extend to the end of February. So the pre-sale period will be from now on to ongoing all the way to the end of February, and then we'll have the ICO the month of March. Regarding the premium, we reinstate the the premium schedule that we had before. The early subscribers will have an extra premium up to 50%, and the ones subscribing from now on will follow the schedule starting at 30% all the way down to 5%. So every 2 weeks, roughly, it goes down 5%. So I hope these different decisions and change in our ICO will make everybody more happy and more interested, not just in our project, but in purchasing the token. The token itself, the token sales itself, is doing pretty well, at least on the institutional part, and we'll make probably next week or the week after, but depending how often we want to be these webinars. But we'll be able to announce quite a few major partnership or partnership and how would you say that, investment from institutional investors in the PKC, so supporting the PikcioChain project. So I guess that's it on my side, or very quickly, and I can give the mic to Jurek and Fabien, the two guys really more responsible on the developing side of the project, to tell you and update everybody on where we stand so far.
Sure, thank you, Didier. So maybe we just can start like telling you maybe the big picture, where we come from and where we are going after the ICO, what's our plan. So far it's been already like 2 years, maybe even 3 years, thrill ride.
3 years, yeah.
3 years building our very own technology around personal data, because as you know, personal data is the fuel of any digital services. But the problem is that there is no tangible platform for the exchange out of it, for the monetization out of it. And it appears very fast to us that blockchain was, as a general term, was a solution, or at least a technology that could provide some good ways to do so. So the problem is that when you start to speak about personal data or any kind of data, you come with constraints regarding regulation, regarding technical issues for institutions, especially in terms of financial institutions. So all of these, if you pile them up, that's a lot of breaks along the way to go for a full public blockchain, as you can see on Ethereum or such kind of things. So that's why we started our adventures building a blockchain technology that will enable all these institutions, all these regulations to interplay together, to have a tangible ground for all this exchange, all the monetization, and enabling new projects and new models. Because here, what we're looking for, it's models where the users, the clients, is more at the center. That's really our philosophy here, is that you're the provider as yourself of the data, as a company, as a client, as a personal individual. And so our solution is built for that. It's built to make data more valuable and to make data transit and be transferred in more safe place. So to go more into, let's say, tangible things, we can speak of how it works and what we are currently doing and what we will do in the future to make it even better. So far, of course, the technology it's like fully running. We have like how many projects? More than I don't know 5 projects running.
Yeah.
And yeah, the big one they are around clients identification, right?
Yeah.
It's like with BNP Paribas, French bank. So the goal here is that we work for them to optimize the user's identification because it's very long, it's very complicated for the clients, and for them they basically they don't have the infrastructure that enables to do so. So we provided them the solution. We copied with their own infrastructure, their needs, and in very few matter of time, like in few weeks, we managed to do something really incredible. We are very happy of the project, and it's a real success. And we are conducting even more contracts after that. So far, what we have it's a fully operational PikcioChain, right? With a various set of existing features. So might people might call them like smart contracts. We prefer to call them features because that's more reliable to what we are doing, and features that enables data exchange, that enables certification, that enable monetization, a various set of features. And this is what we have today. A very unique technology with unique mechanism system like Matryoshka. I won't enter much in details. I just invite you to read white paper, and we also have a good.
Didier, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Because you mentioned Matryoshka, and would you be able to, in 60 seconds, explain what's innovative about it and why is it so special?
Yeah. Okay, let's do the challenge in 60 seconds. So when you speak of blockchain, blockchain is an upper layer of peer-to-peer network. And what is a peer-to-peer network? It's one IP, one device communicating with another. Okay, so peer-to-peer is direct exchange link. So from a network perspective, what you see is one IP communicating with another. So now, Matryoshka, they can be assimilated to onion routing. Why onion routing is good for, I mean, more secure for peer-to-peer network? It's because you break this direct link by putting some nodes in the middle, nodes of a peer-to-peer network that will obfuscate the link. So from a network perspective, if I like say I'm a malicious entity, I will not be able to know who is the sender and who is the receiver from the same network perspective. I will only see like some branches, some part of it. I cannot know what are the exchange links. So doing so, because here we are in a permission-based blockchain, we're able to protect the miners, we're able to obfuscate the link between users and between all the network interplays. So we secure, using the Matryoshka, we secure more the network, more the blockchain than any other that we have seen so far.
But if there is something in between the transmission, does it not make it less efficient because there are more nodes in the middle?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Of course, like security, I mean, security and efficiency, there is something, it's a metric, okay? If you go more for security, then the efficiency in terms of exchange go down. So basically, we're not here to tell you, well, you need to be ultra secure or you need to be ultra efficient. We're here to tell you, you have needs and we have a technology that can adapt to your needs. You tell us, okay, I need to obfuscate, to have a strong matters of obfuscation, we can do that. But of course, your efficiency will be reduced. But in the same time, if you are looking for efficiency, we can balance, okay? It's all matter of balance, and we're able to play with this balance. But in terms of efficiency, again, I will not say that you have too much worry about it, because still using things like the Matryoshka with you can like play on how many nodes you have in the path, right? Yeah. But we're able to deal with like 50 transactions a second easily. So that's not really the matter here.
And does the user also need to understand Matryoshka, or do they have an interface?
They don't have to understand it. Because the thing is,
how does the provisioning of the service look like for the user? Is there an app or a web app? Or?
Actually, we have two apps, one for the laptop on macOS, on Linux and Windows. And we are developing the Android one, which will be released as a beta version next week. And the aim is to release the production version at Q1 to next year.
And what does the user like? What can I do with the app? Can I verify myself, or what is it? What is the main kind of purpose?
Well, so I'm sorry, I'm just going to interpret very quickly in there. There's two aspects to this response. One is when we sell to business, that's the approach where it's a bank who's going to use what we're talking. That could be completely internally, or that could also involve, and actually by regulation, it has to involve the clients we're talking about. So the individual we're exchanging the data about. Most of the time, or at least so far, the web-based application has been used by the clients to manage the chain itself, so that ecosystem, and to give access to their individuals, and the individuals or the clients. And these have access behind, or how would I say that, embed in the existing mobile application of the bank. They have access to the features that are offered by the bank. So there's one solution which is basically managed through a web app by our customer. That means the bank in this case, and their own customer can have access to their data and services embedded in their existing either portal or mobile application. Now, what we're doing, and that's the big part of the project that we're proposing here for the ICO, is to also continue to develop what Fabien was just mentioning, which is the standalone mobile application that we so far have on Android, and we'll move it on iOS. That's part of the R&D development investment, and that will allow, this time without being invited by an existing business or as a client of an existing business, but on your own, standalone, you will be able to do exactly what you just mentioned, Luke, which is you'll be able to find, first of all, gather your data that are all over the place. You will be able to get certification based on these data through direct contact or through other features that we'll set up. And more and more. So that we have these two worlds that in our Pixio world, we call that Pixio Pro for the approach business B2B2C, or Pixio Me, which is you and me able to do that.
So if I understand correctly, you have you have kind of more like a white label solution for institutional customers. So
correct.
The end customer doesn't even know probably that they're using a PikcioChain technology.
Yes, the chain they will not know probably, or that's actually not really their concern, but they will know that it's around Pixio because it's whenever we do a white label, it's still like powered by Pixio.
Okay.
We have a branding approach. The reason being that at one point, as an end user, if you receive an invitation from BNP to use that service, etc., so you have access to their as I say, to their mobile app, to the services. But if you see on the other hand, that you can use Pixio, you will be able to combine the two on your own and get your Pixio and then use the service that are provided by the specific bank if they're okay for that. So you will be able to actually connect all the under your control, of course, but through your PikcioMe, you will be able to connect to several more private chain where you're a customer and you've been invited to participate. So that's why the branding is important to understand this is all around Pixio. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Thanks
Okay.
for
Sorry, so Fabien, back to you.
Thank you, Didier. Okay, so effectively, I was talking about the B2C for investors application. The two applications that we will release by the beginning of next year is the like the wallet. In fact, it's to manage your data and your token, to be able to buy, to sell your tokens, to have all the transactions that you have been set on our network. And moreover, we will add some features. It's not all the features that we have developed on PikcioMe. I'm talking on the mobile application. It's the features like chat, like message profile, to be able to manage the profile, to manage contact, to manage Pixio token. And the application is using our technology to prove that it is working and to prove that it's very safe. And later we will add several functionalities in this app to be able to, like Didier said, to gather more data about the user, to certify some data, and to exchange with some business this data to have some kind of services on our PikcioChain.
Yeah, I mean, sure. The main direction or the driver was personal data, so we made like various features around it, because we believe that okay, I gather my personal data, that's cool, but what can I do out of it, you know? And this is really what we focus on. Like we're seeing countless applications that enabled to do that. You know, there's a lot of safe box. Yeah, I don't know. Here in Europe, you will see a lot of service doing that. That's cool. They put my data in a safe place, but me, what I want to do is to share with the one I want in order to get the service that I want. And basically, it's this, I would say, this plug that we work on to making the way that, okay, I have personal data, I want service out of it, and this application, PikcioChain and PikcioMe, the application I will download, will make things easier for me. I'll get my data in few clicks, and I will access services from the other in also a few clicks, once and for all of that in a secure way. Of course, for the clients, it's all transparent. Him is just using the application like all the time. Except this time, he'll be able to provide his data because I just collect, I don't know, data sources, my bank, my Facebook, my LinkedIn. And out of 3 clicks, I have tons of information about me. And this is valuable information for, let's say, subscribing contract for my car insurance, or let's say I have a follow-up if I plug my, we have API for my Fitbits, you know, I can get all my health data and digital services out of it. So it's a various set of features that we offer. It's like, I'd say, a sandbox. What we want to do is to keep it open, of course, for developers to have the most tangible and reliable in time platform for personal data. That's really the goal here.
I think that what Jorik said is very important. I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you lose me?
Go on, Didier.
Okay, sorry. I think what Jorik said is very important.
Sorry, because we muted Didier, sorry.
All right.
Yeah,
am I still on or not?
You can go ahead.
No,
sorry.
I am. Okay. So it's still, even for the first time, what Derek said is very important. It's the strong conviction, and that's what drove the our philosophy of our development philosophy and design of the solution, is that we really do believe that the personal data is an asset, a very valuable asset, and as an asset, it's used on the internet as a currency, and which means that we never had a sort of defensive approach, like, bring all your data into a safe box somewhere, and then we put a big lock in front of it, and you cannot do anything with it anymore, except you feel that you're very safe. We really think that it has to be part of a flow of transaction, and it has to be used in transaction, and it is used in transaction already. So that was very important, and it's still very important for us to not just provide a strong, secure way to collect your data and control that, but also find a second part, which is how do you include these data in a transaction that you can trust and that where you feel comfortable with. That's really fundamental. That's why we explore and we will continue to explore tons of different ways where individuals and business, because both handle personal data in different ways and for different purpose, both can find that platform where they can have reliable data, and they can do something with it. Individuals have to do something with it, and we're helping them in that way with analysis, with automation, with artificial intelligence, etc. So we're bringing on top of that. So you find ways to do smart things with your data at your own pace and at your own control, without having to get these data moving into a sort of big repository somewhere, or a big central server at the use of without your control somewhere. So that's the whole design of our solution. That's very, very important.
And there's, you talked a lot about personal data and regulation. Is your solution ready for the new regulation in Europe,
For GDPR? Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. The solution has been designed with GDPR in mind as a threshold that we had to be even better than that. So we think that GDPR is probably the strongest privacy regulation in the world. I don't know if it's gonna spread around the world, but it's definitely the strongest one. So it was a sort of model for us. If we didn't pass that test, then we would have personally considered that failed. And that's why, as I said, we have, and that's very important for companies that are either using us now or think about using us in the near future, is that it's the big flow of data is normally B2B, but now what GDPR brings is that it has to be under the, let's call that, control or administration of the C in the picture, and that's or design is fully integrating that part, where it's the triggering event for any kind of transaction is always the individual.
Okay. And does it mean I mean, the way we handle personal data will become probably more complicated in the future? And if yes, I mean, is blockchain the right solution for it, or what's your view on that?
I'll give the Jörg and Fabien the answer to that, but just on my side, I would say that yes, it might be a little bit complex, because whenever you have possibility of choice and control, it takes time and energy to do it. So we'll try, and we keep trying to make it easier, more accessible, more kind of obvious and intuitive to individuals, and at least keep the choice. And I think that's part of the benefit of the blockchain, is that you will have that choice settled and trackable in the chain. So nobody can say, well, I didn't get your consent, or I didn't get your refusal, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be really and that's very important for all parties in place. But I leave now Jorik and Fabien to answer to that.
Yeah, Didier is right. Beginning by the fact that the user has the control, if he has the choice to share some data, to erase some data, to give back the data from any business, we are full regulated yes, we are fully regulated, and we are compliant with the GDPR. It's the essential is the choice that the user can have with our application. And in a peer-to-peer solution, the user has always the choice to share or not share some kind of data, compared to a centralized architecture where data are stored on server from any company. You don't have the control, even if they say you can retrieve your data, you can erase your data. You never have the control to erase really this data from the servers. But in the peer-to-peer technology, you always have the choice to share or not, or to erase or not some data that we have.
Yeah, and more importantly, the GDPR, one very important fact that they tend to forget is the portability of data. And many companies, when we started to speak with them, they saw that like as a break for their business, okay? Because for them it was okay, I have a client, tomorrow he wants to, I'm a bank, I have a client, he wants to open another account in some other bank. Due to this regulation, I have to give this data back to this bank, the other bank, if the client says so. And they saw that as a real pain, but actually that's as much a pain as an opportunity, because you'll give data, but you also get some data. And the thing is that this interplay, these communication channels, this is something they have to cope with. And at the first glance, might seem very complex to address, but thanks to the blockchain in general, but more over the PikcioChain, things are made more easy, okay? We're not talking here about super system that will go into your information system with tons of headaches, how I'm gonna integrate it. It's like an upper layer, an easy layer that basically you plug it. It's like when you change a country, I go to, I don't know, England, I have to put on my socket an adapter. We have this adapter that comes here as a middleware and makes easier for company the portability. And data portability is a big opportunity, okay? Because banks now here in France, they work on to this open identification, a global open identification, which was somehow a dream for everyone here, because every time you go onto a website, you have to again register the same information over and over. Every time I want to open an account, it's a headache. I have so many files to give, you know? But thanks to that, thanks to this technology, thanks to the regulation, if we couple them together, we're able to build a system where everything is made easier. Of course, you have this, like I said, Fabien, choices. And choices, it's effort. Okay, I should accept, I should refuse, I should do that, this. But in terms of open identification, that's way more easy. I register once and for all to, let's say, my BNP Paribas bank. Tomorrow I want to go to some online shop like Amazon. I just have to use my identification from one side, and directly from Amazon, they will get my profile if I wish to. And like this, like you can see now, if you go on some website, you can log in or sign in with Facebook, right? On many websites. Why not tomorrow as a bank? Why not tomorrow as an insurance? Why not tomorrow as an institution? Why cannot myself as an institution make this kind of service for my clients and for all my partners? But this is now possible thanks to GDPR. Okay, it's not only a break, really. I'm focusing here. It's also an opportunity or a push forward to that for open identification. And blockchain is really the technology that says, okay, we have different partners, we have different business model, we have different perspective, we do things different, but the blockchain is here because we are different. And we don't much trust each other, or we work maybe as a concurrent. But blockchain is like a safe ground, like a peace ground, where everything is monitored, traceable, and secured. So this all here, it's really an opportunity, and we are here to fill this opportunity. PikcioChain is an opportunity for business, really.
And do you, because when you say about also data exchange, Do you think banks can also monetize the data they already have? And do you see, because that sounds like a big opportunity for the banks.
For sure. I mean, when banks, they have to process what they call a KYC, know your customer. It's like also a law that they have to follow to identify a client, to know that, for instance, if I go for a credit, that I'm not a fraud, that if I claim to be Jorick, I'm really Jorick, okay? So there's a full like form, steps that you have to follow, and it's very long and very complex. This, as a user, it takes me time. On the bank side, it takes tremendous amount of time. There's a lot of process behind it to analyze all the pieces of information that you will give your, I don't know, ID card, your electricity bill, and all of that. And that's really complicated. But imagine that the bank does it once and for all, and they say, okay, tomorrow you want to subscribe an insurance. They'll say to you as a user, listen, this insurance, you don't have to register again to this insurance. You don't have to provide your ID card, you don't have to provide your electricity bill, because we are going to give you data, or at least the certification that you are really who you pretend to be, to this insurance. Okay, so as a user, you just have to like say, okay, I'm agree with that. Okay, and from the bank side, what I provide to the insurance here is the fact that instead of having all this process of identification, one click away, they have the certification that the clients they receive is really the one that he pretends to be. And moreover, I give you the data that you need to process his insurance. So of course, for this as a bank, because I'm the provider of data and valuable and certified data, I need to be, I would say, paid for that. Okay, it's a service I provide. And of course, the PikcioChain and the PikcioToken are made for that, to monetize all this validation and certification of data. So that as a business, I can sell the fact that I certify this user to other partners, to other businesses, or even the big groups, because we've seen it from different divisions or different departments. We're able to monetize and have a, like say, reliable business model around the user's data.
Just to add to what Jorick is saying, and that's again very important. It's Jorick and Fabien said is that the first thing is certification, and that's where really the value is. The data is very valuable, of course, and it's sensitive and it's important. But what a company wants to also buy from credentials companies like banks or other, as opposed to a self-decide or self-built sovereign identity, is the certification that comes with it. And that's the process that Jorick described. And that process is repeated again and again to departments in the same bank and to different banks, etc. That's a waste of time. That's a bad supply chain process for around personal data. But not just personal data, it's just the certification around it. Now, what it allows when the certificate is issued and goes into the PikcioChain is that the certificate can be used as for onboarding, as Jorick just described. What it also allows is that you don't need to move the data from one server to another server. It might be enough, and that's the governance of the chain that will decide and what goes to the transaction around the data. But it might be very well that the vendor that is using the credential coming from, we just mentioned BNP a bit earlier, which is one of our clients, it might be that it's enough for them because they know that in this case, Didier or Jorick or Fabien have been identified and certified and authenticated by BNP, and that's enough. They don't need more than that. Or they might need two more data that are part of a set of data that BNP is putting in place or selling, let's put it that way. And they might just need these two data. So they don't need the whole big block. They don't need to gather tons of or track Jorick all the time to trying to find out lots of things about himself. They're just going to use the data that they need if they really need that to process something after. So on one hand, you in the chain you have, in the ledger in the chain you have where the data is that support the authentication or the certification, etc. And that's all you need. And then sometimes you can say, where's the data that I need to process this? So it's a whole other approach of that personal data ecosystem that so far is handled in a very different way by either a credential provider like banks, etc. And frankly, the way it's done for the moment, and it's because legacy, it's a pure waste of time and money. And on the other hand, you have that other world collecting huge amount of data about yourself, like Google, etc., and piling these data, and then selling the big block. And that's not an economy that still can be sustainable or even is reliable, frankly. And that's what we're really kind of attacking in terms of, or want to change, or at least provide an alternative system for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, great. I mean, I think I would love to see it kind of in action. I think hopefully one day in one of, or maybe that's a question to Jurek. I mean, can we expect a demo one day where you can see it,
sure,
you know, like a screencast and just
sure.
show, you know, how it works end to end?
Yeah, sure. We can make a live demonstration in the frame, for example, something to do. Like Didier said, we're working with BNP and we have various, all the chain actually, from the user's identification for a credit, then the administrator from the credit company validating the identity, so the identity is validated, then the user having control over his data, deciding to who he wants to share, and then going to a third-party platforms, let's say an insurance, and using the same credential to identify himself. So we have the whole scenario, of course, running. It's not only a demonstration, it's something running.
Totally live, yep.
Yeah.
So basically this will drive the price of the token. If people use the top PKC to purchase this data or exchange data, do you think that will be the main driver for the demand for PKC, or what are the other?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that's why we did it in the first place. Of course, we are not like, we know, of course, there's speculation, there's many things around the ICO, we're not naive, for sure. But the goal of the PKC is that, okay, PKC is here to, first, for two things, main things. For data, okay, I can buy data and I can use services like coming from the one using the PikcioChain, but also, and that's the future, and that's where we are going right now in terms of development. It's for building smart contracts. Again, I don't like these words, but it's to build your own solution onto that.
Why do you not like the word smart contract? Can you explain why the smart contract?
Because I believe like smart contracts is too narrow meaning comparison of what you do. Okay, yeah, you can do more things than smart contracts. I mean, smart contracts, you believe that, okay, it's the contract of your insurer at the corner of the street that gives you a price for your car insurance. Okay, yeah, that's what the meaning you have behind it. But no, you can do way more things. You can do pretty much everything, okay? All these features, I want to highlight that, okay, it's not only smart contract, but something, a real system. You can build a real system tomorrow, what you're doing today, what you're doing on infrastructure. If you wish to move it to a fully decentralized version, you can do it using smart contracts. And that's what we aim at, of course. That's what the PikcioChain is designed for. It's for the long run, okay? Like we said, we provide various sets of existing features like certification, payment, a lot of things. But we aim for the long run, okay? If we want to make it sustainable over time, to have like a full system in global, of course, we have to provide companies and developers tools and features to build something for the long run. So this is something that Pixio token will also be able to buy. It's the use of these features. I mean, the use of creation and the use of the features that was created. So
the services, yep.
all the global circle.
Also wanted to add a little thing. I don't know if it's a bit off what we're talking, but it's connect with the token. Is that when we decide to go for the token for the PikcioChain, one of the main idea was that personal data value is something pretty complex. It's obviously a huge market if you look at the revenue of Google and Cryptio, etc. They're obviously making a lot of money around it. So it has a value, and it has producer and it has buyers. Now, when you include, and that's a major part of our ecosystem, when you include the individuals, the perception of that value is very complex, and it can be culturally based, social based, could be for many reasons. I will perceive that precise data about myself at a certain rate, and you might not agree about that, not just about my value, but the same value for you. So it's very complex to translate that into a regular currency. Although it's a currency, as we said initially, it's complex to say, well, that data is worth that many euros or Swiss franc or US dollars. So we thought that it would be more neutral all over the world, because our intention are, of course, to grow all over the world, to have tokens that's kind of disconnect somehow from the regular currency when they're in use in the ecosystem of the PikcioChain. So that's one of the reasons why we set up the token, and what you use it for is, as Jurek said, buy the service or allow yourself to create some more features on the chain.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for the answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else you want us to share today?
No, I think that was great for the first webinar. I think we spoke more than I think we expected. So
well, that's the problem with us. It's at least with me. If you push the button, you can have it work. Your 8 hours won't be enough.
So yeah, hopefully, I mean, maybe Didier, you can just maybe wrap up and then announce the next one, because I think we're expecting some interesting announcements. So maybe you can just say a few words to wrap up, and then let us know when you think would be a good time to have the next one of those webinars.
Well, what's the date? We are with 18. If we say, do you want to make one end of next week, same time, or after or between Christmas and New Year's Eve, where nobody's listening to anything?
Yeah, Thursday, Friday is probably the last. I mean, I guess it also depends on the development on your side, because if you think you have something to announce, then it makes sense definitely.
Well, we should have. I just received the contract from Pricewaterhouse, so we should. It's up to me to sign it and start the partnership, and that's a big announcement, because that's an official partnership with Pricewaterhouse for the whole European market. On the ICO, we should also have the NEO agreement.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but do we want to talk about it now, or do you want to leave it for the next week?
Oh no, not now. I'm saying what we could say.
But
about
people can listen.
Right? Oh, you were still live?
Yeah.
All right. So sorry. So and then there is another big announcement as well next week. So let's do it next week.
Okay. So let's plan it for
next Friday, same time.
Great. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Take care. Bye.